The Restream scheduler allows you to broadcast pre-recorded video live. Let's take a look at how to set up the Restream scheduler. First, head over to scheduler.restream.io and log into your Restream account, then allow access for scheduler to be able to access your Restream account. Next, you'll want to click the Video tab from the top navbar. Once in the Videos tab, you can upload your pre-recorded event. Once processed, hover over the video to see a quick preview or to delete the video. Now, head back over to your Scheduler tab from the navbar. Choose Schedule Event and select the video that you want. Give the event a title. Once it's time for your event to go live, Restream Scheduler will automatically start your stream on Restream.io dashboard and broadcast it to all of your enabled channels. And that's it. Now you can share your stream with your whole audience even while you sleep. I've been Randy for Restream, and make sure to have yourself an awesome multicast.
Great. Okay, I think we're live. Okay, cool. So hi guys, welcome. Stacey Tuschel here, and I'm excited because today I have my friend Andrea Weiss with us. Andrea, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you get to be my first little guinea pig of using this service with a guest. So I'm excited. You get to help me test out all the bugs. So I appreciate you being here. The reason I had brought Andrea on with you guys is first, usually it prompts or it sparks by me selfishly wanting to chat with somebody about something. And then I wonder if other people will want this information too. I wonder if there's anybody else that will benefit from this conversation. So what you're kind of witnessing is a conversation Andrea and I would have had like through text or on the phone. But Andrea, you've been a working mom now and a mom of how old is your oldest?
So my oldest is 9. He's about to be 10.
Okay. And how old is Asher?
3.
Okay. So you have 4 children between 3 and 9. So you're in the thick of it. You understand how this works. And you've always been, not only have you been working from home, but you've been a stay-at-home mom where you are homeschooling your children.
Yes.
So that makes a big difference. And I immediately thought of you and I was like, I've got to figure out how I'm going to get this work done and how I'm going to get the kids to be able to, you know, whether they play by themselves or figure this out, we've got to get some sort of rhythm and routine and structure. And that's kind of one of the main reasons I wanted to contact you and then have you on. So first of all, as we kind of jump into this, I really want everybody listening, like we understand the big struggle right now is how do we stay productive and get that work done? And how do we take advantage of the time being with our kids? So really staying in that moment of gratitude that it is nice that they're home and that we get these opportunities we maybe necessarily would not have had otherwise. So I'm going to have just a few questions that I want to ask for you and just share. It doesn't have to be perfect. I keep telling everybody listening, like we're real moms, figuring it out, doing all of this. So first, as we jump in, can I ask you, with your situation, has the coronavirus, has it affected you? Like knowing that you work from home, your kids are at home, you're homeschooling, has anything changed in your world?
Yeah, I think one of the misconceptions with homeschooling is we're always home. But really, a lot of our stuff that we do out of our home has been canceled, obviously. We're not isolated in our homes. Our communities are shut down, our homeschool communities. So yeah, we are feeling it here that we are stuck at home.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So you're in this with us. You can still, you might even have some new strategies that you've come up with. And let me just kind of even start there. Has there been something new that you've had to start to put into your routine or that you're getting them out of the house more or anything like that? Thankfully, the weather is getting nice here in Wisconsin.
Yes. We've definitely had to implement more like structured reading times because we're not having those outlets in the afternoon to, go to events or activities. So it's a lot of let's read, let's challenge ourselves to, we trace a lot of maps. So let's go ahead and see if we can beat our number from last week. So yeah, we have to get creative with staying busy.
So what does a typical schedule look like for you if you know that you want to whether get work done or clean the house or do some sort of, thing that you needed to get done? Like how do you stay productive and what are some tips that you do that maybe some other moms could benefit from?
So are you saying like how to keep my kids busy while I get stuff done?
Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing, I think systems are so good, but kind of even before that is setting some expectations in the household and getting everybody on board.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of, and it's totally understandable. People are overwhelmed and, it's coming out and they're frustrated. And I think kids can sense that. And then when they come to learning or just trying to, be busy, they're feeling the stress too, So one of the things that I do at the beginning of my school year is the first day I make my kids kind of make up their own rules for our classroom setting.
Okay.
And they're rules that I approve of, but just the fact that they're making them up and they're thinking about them, they're buying into it, So I think that would be a good thing for moms to do now is, give your kids freedom in obviously within boundaries, but like, hey, do you want to do school in the morning? We can, get this done and be done by lunch and then we can have our whole day. Or, do you want to do it in the afternoon? And it has to be done by the end of the day, but when do you want to do it? Okay. And if they think they have the choice, I think you're going to have so much more cooperation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I like that idea of setting the expectation of really talking to them about what's going on and what we need to be doing. And I've even had to set the expectation with shopping, right? So they're like, Mom, can we get this? Can we throw this in? I'm like, listen, here's the situation right now. We are not buying things we used to be buying, right? So it's just a whole new level of expectation when it comes to all of this. Even with we're teaching them so many lessons right now when it comes to food and wasting food and thinking you have all these options and all of that. So I think that's a really good point, as we have not really set the expectation with schooling and what that looks like, and then getting them on board. Everybody's so different right now with what we have to do with school. Our kids specifically have 3 days a week that we have to sit down and do things with. And I mean, it might take an hour or two and we're good to go. The one thing that I'll share that's a little bit different for me, we have very different situations. So Andrea's husband's a fireman. So he's gone 2-3 days a week. So you're fully on your own, kind of single momming it while that happens. So that's a big difference. For me, I thankfully have my husband now home with me. But what I'm feeling is he's stressed. He's not necessarily enjoying all of the extra homeschooling time, right? And all of that kind of stuff. So then I'm feeling a little bit of guilt of how can I now overcompensate and get all my work done and still try to do their stuff. But we've even said too, if there's 3 days a week, why don't you take on 2 and I'll do 1 day on Saturday, right? Why don't we try to, balance that a little bit? And that's what's felt different for me mostly is the weekends feel so different. Before, it really felt like we were working so hard Monday through Friday and then we were breaking. Now I feel like we've just kind of spread it all out through the week. And is that something you feel or you do?
I think that that was actually one of the points I was going to make is you don't need to recreate your school at home. You don't need to do Monday through Friday, thinking you have to do all these hours. If you can do them on the weekend, do it on the weekend. Okay. Some people may have children who are really, they're driven. So they can get 2 days worth of work done in a day. I mean, go with it. Enjoy the flexibility of this time. I know that schools are obviously giving some guidelines, but you don't need to do it how you envision school being.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, at least with our school, they've been pretty flexible and been really gracious, knowing we don't know what we're doing. We maybe have to get work done and do all of this. So they've said many times, find a rhythm for your family and your routine and go from there. So that's been really helpful. Okay. So I'm just curious, how do you typically schedule your day? Did the kids vote for the morning times, or what does your day look like? And when do you sneak in times for you to get stuff done?
So in the morning, what I do is, we've got the breakfast and all that going. When we're done with that, the kids go up to our schoolroom. We do have a schoolroom because obviously this is our life. You do not need a schoolroom. Kitchen table works totally fine.
We set our kitchen table up right now as the school area. I mean, we've got a whole section of Tanner's stuff, and that's just her new area.
Yeah. So I've set them up to do independent work. So every Sunday, so the kids each have a color folder for every day of the week. And every Sunday I'll put their work in. So they'll take that time. If they can do anything on their own, they do. And that's when I kind of wrap things up, clean up the kitchen, grab my coffee, stuff like that. And then I come up, and again, this is one of the perks of homeschooling is I can combine some subjects together. So I have my kindergartner, 2nd grade, and 4th grade, and we do our subjects together. And honestly, that takes probably literally no more than 2 hours. I mean, that's if we're having a long day, that's 2 hours is our max. Okay. And then after that, I'll let 2 other kids go off and kind of do whatever they want within reason. And I'll work with each of my 3 individually on their reading and their math. And then we are done by noon. Okay. We will not go past lunch or go through lunch. We are done at noon.
Okay, cool. So After, like, let's say that afternoon time, is that when you're getting things done? Is that when you're letting them
Mhm.
run around outside and get all of
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I feel like lunchtime and like the hour or two after that, we're just letting them play. They go outside. I'm really not making it too structured because they just were in a very structured,
Yes.
morning. So I just kind of let them do whatever. Not whatever, but you know what I'm saying, within reason. But then around 3-ish, we'll kind of have a quiet hour and they have a choice. I'll be in my office. It has to be quiet. You can read. You can take a nap if you want. You are allowed to play outside in the backyard, but you just can't be running in and out and being loud. You just respect the tranquility inside the house for about an hour or two before dinner.
Okay, I love that.
Mhm.
So, how are you managing self care? That's a big request that we're getting.
Mhm.
Parents are asking me, clients are asking me. I feel like I'm working or I'm with the kids
Yep.
24/7 and I don't have any me time. So, as somebody who is alone a lot of the times with the kids, I'd love to hear like both versions of what it looks like when your husband's home and when he's not.
Yeah. And I'm fighting that too because like a couple weeks ago I was feeling real like agitated, but really nothing was going on here that was causing that. But I was realizing I was not getting my breathers.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing we don't have those boundaries now. You can't leave the house and say, I'm leaving. So it has to be very intentional
Right. Your
now.
Target run is no longer happening. Now you're like,
Right.
or you're going for 5 minutes to pick it up and you're coming home. Yeah.
Exactly. And I've had to get used to like the bite size,
Yeah.
self care. So, we're in the same neighborhood. You see me go for walks,
Yeah.
but I treated myself to some audiobooks, just to kind of make it a little bit more relaxing. But honestly, it is the hour before they wake up or after they go to bed, just a bubble bath or reading a book. I wish it could be more, but,
But I do
but the thing
think
is,
those little things help.
yes, and you have to be intentional. It's not going to happen. Just like you're going to make the appointment to get your nails done or a
Mm-hmm.
massage, you have
Yeah.
to do that within your house and just say to your husband, if when he's home, look, I need an hour or two,
Yeah.
and I'm going to take it in our bedroom. I'm going to close the door, and I'm just going to read or nap.
Yeah. And one thing that we've had to get really good at, and I remember this stage kind of when we first started having kids, we kept doing everything together and we kept thinking we had to be together as a family. And then we realized, no, the parents need to separate. Obviously, we don't need to always separate, but like if we can tag team, so if he can put them to bed and I can be with them when wake up versus like everybody's up or everybody's putting them to bed. So that's been really helpful for us to be like, okay, you have time. As soon as I'm done with my work day today, I'm taking them the rest of the day and we're going for a walk, we're hanging out. Like he can go do whatever he needs to, go work out, go, do whatever he needs to do here so that he feels like he's having that break as well.
Mhm. Right. Because I feel like when both parents are present,
Yeah.
they both feel like that guilt of carrying it when it's like if you just take that off of one parent's shoulder for an hour or two, they're just going to feel so much better.
Yeah.
And then they're going to hopefully reciprocate with you when you need that hour or two.
Right. Well, and my typical work day is about 9 to 3. And not only have I had to cut it out because I'm helping in certain ways, but I also feel like I want to cut it out a little bit. I want to go for that walk in the afternoon. I want to take a break and eat lunch with them. So I'm intentionally modifying my schedule and being really selective of what I say yes to because I can still fill my day with Zoom meetings and everything else. So I can be just as busy as I was, just a few weeks ago. But then not only that, I also want to, jump in to maybe work with them or do something with them. Well, again, Ken started to record our podcast, or not record, edit our podcast. So now he's got things on his plate where it's like, if he doesn't get it done, it doesn't matter if I keep recording podcasts, because if he's not actually editing and uploading them, we're having a problem. So now I've got to figure out how do I take a break to watch them so he can do some of his work as well. And we really switched off working morning, evening, just to kind of get it all done.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, great. If you guys I'm in the foot traffic community, the Facebook group. If you have any questions, feel free to post them. Make sure to ask Andrea. I've got some questions too that have come through that I'll ask in just a second. What are your favorite kid activities for them to self-occupy? So you're not really doing it, but you're kind of setting them up, getting them situated so that okay, this would be a really great 30 minutes for me to get something done, or an hour, etc.
So I think the ages matter as well.
Yes.
So my two older ones, 8 and 9, I can set them up with like art tutorials, and that can keep them active for about 30 minutes or so. There are some good channels on YouTube. I know some parents might be nervous about YouTube, but There's one channel that we particularly like, and that can keep them busy for about 30 minutes.
Would you be comfortable sharing the channel?
I think it's called Art Hub for Kids.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Art Hub for Kids. Yep. And then my two younger ones, 3 and 5, obviously, if I set them up with a game, within 2 minutes, they're going to come and ask me for help. You know, we have a Wii upstairs that I like because it's more active, so they can do that. But I really encourage a lot of times quiet reading, looking at books.
Okay.
One thing I did do last year, this was all pre-COVID-19, obviously, was I created extra credit folders. And you can call it whatever you want. But I just compiled literally from the workbooks you can find at Target to free printables online. And it was work that was below their level so that they didn't need my help, but it could occupy them. And then I kind of created a bit of a reward system. Like if you do 5, you'll get this, or, you know, we built up the rewards. So they were actually encouraged to do more, but it was easier for them because it wasn't like the stuff we're learning right now. It was maybe a review of what we did a couple months ago.
I would never think to go back and do something lower than their skill level. But you're right. It is a review. The reviewing the basics is always amazing. And then they're going to be needing you a lot less because they can do it.
Yes.
That's genius.
And another thing that it works really well is if you're able to do it, is have your older kids teach your younger kids, especially girls. They love it. They feel like they're playing teacher. But what they don't realize is they're reviewing, and they're reviewing the stuff that they've already learned. So you're kind of like doing two great things at once because you're free. You're having your older child help your younger child, and your older child is actually reviewing necessary stuff as well.
Amazing. Okay, I love this. Okay, so Tracy asked, how do you get them motivated without their teacher? I'm thinking about using bribery. Any other options would be great.
Mm-hmm. That goes back to letting them make decisions in how things are going to go, because they're going to buy into it. You know, where do you want to do school? Do you want to do it at the dining room table? Do you want to do it at the kitchen table? Now, obviously, those are two places that you would want them, but let them pick. Okay. You know, and another thing I do is I like to give them options as far as, you know, we can do this together now because this is my time to help you. And we can do it together, and they realize, oh, I'm going to get mom's help, or you can do it later without me. You have a choice, but realize later it's going to be without me.
Got it. Okay.
So, but it has to be done by the end of the day, obviously.
Right.
So
you're still setting the boundaries. They get to pick. And then Paula said, how do we keep them entertained and not on devices with all doing this? And going back to what Tracy just said, like giving them the choice, or even maybe rewarding them with, when this is done at 3 or 4, then you can go on the tablet for however long you decide as a parent. I'm
not against rewards. I mean, especially at this time, I mean, we're all kind of thrown into something very, you know, new to us. And kids feel it too. If they're really cooperative for the week and you're getting stuff done, I see nothing wrong with a Friday night treat. I really don't.
Okay, cool. So, hang on. I'm just looking at other questions coming in. Hi guys, thanks for joining us. I think I might have, Nicolette says, I have set flex school time and I just say we need to accomplish XYZ and they get to pick within our loose schedule what to work on. So Nicolette is also a homeschool mom, does something very similar to what you do. Are we missing anything? Are there any things that we can talk about with spouse? Like getting them on board, having them help? Like, do you ever feel guilty, or do you finally just ask? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I've had my husband get involved with things, not necessarily things that I don't like to do, but things that I see my kids drawn to him with. You know, I see certain subjects that they're just excited to work with dad with. Okay. And my husband, he does take that on, he's a firefighter, so he's home 2 days. Yeah. He works 1 24-hour shift, so he does that. The only thing I would say with working with a spouse is maybe divide it by subjects rather than by day. That way you kind of have that same teacher for the subject. Okay. So it's not like, well, dad did this yesterday and you're teaching it this way. Yeah.
I can definitely see that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then one thing I had brought up to you, I was like, man, I really have been kind of like curious about homeschooling and thinking like, could we ever do it? Not because I want to be homeschooling or because I naturally feel like I'd be this amazing teacher. It's more so because I love the flexibility. I see you guys drop whatever you're doing and just go on these trips or just have that flexibility. And that to me is so intriguing. So
Yeah.
I had wanted to ask you, like, is this a good time to evaluate, like, oh, we could totally do this,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I don't think so. To me, this is like what parents are doing with schooling is like the equivalent of working from home, but with a boss.
Mm,
Like you still have expectations from someone else. You still have someone else's roles. You really don't have the flexibility.
okay.
And I really feel for the parents that have that because you don't have that flexibility. I wish you could experience it because you would love it.
Yeah.
If you could experience it. Also, we have a lot more community as homeschoolers. We're not so isolated.
Yeah, definitely. It's different.
Mhm.
Okay, well, and it's not like we're doing this anytime soon, but it's still something I've thought about. And poor Ken's probably thinking, like, never. We will never
Well,
do this.
that's my fear is that parents are going to feel that. They're going to feel like never. And it's like, oh, but it was nothing. It's nothing. I mean, we have, months to prepare and plan and we can pick curriculums and
Yeah.
even choose our style of teaching. It's nothing like what parents are experiencing now.
Cool. Amazing. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much for popping on and sharing today.
Yeah.
You guys, we're going to be back here tomorrow, same time. I'm going to be actually walking through my morning routine with you. So Andrea touched on it a little bit. Like one of her things is she gets up early in the morning and she's walking to get in that self-care. So I'm going to share with you how my morning routine has changed. It has drastically changed. I've had to get up earlier and do some different things. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow at 11:30 Central. You can check that out there. And if you want to go get our recession proofing tips that we did last week live, go to stacytuschel.com/workshop. All the details can be found there. Andrea, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you online
Thank you.
if they want to go check you out?
Well, my business page isn't too active right now. They could probably, if I can give you some links to some of my other accounts and then you could share them somewhere.
Definitely.
Okay,
I'll do
cool.
that. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
See ya.